segment of the 422 Business Show. I'm your host, Bill Haley, publisher of the Route 422 Business Advisor magazine and 422business.com. And today we've got a very interesting segment for you. We're going to talk to Kevin Robbins, the CEO of the Midatlantic Employers Association. Welcome, Kevin.
Thanks, Bill. Glad to be here.
Midatlantic Employers Association, based in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, but serving the Mid-Atlantic region, correct?
That's right, really through Delaware, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania.
And it's a nonprofit organization, correct?
Yes, it's like a trade association.
But what you really do is you provide essential human resources services, correct?
We do, and that probably sounds kind of strange, but we've been around for 100 years helping companies with their HR and training needs through a 100-year period.
And the point being to attract, retain, motivate their workforce, correct?
That's right.
Okay, great. Just very briefly, tell us a little bit. Your organization has been around since the turn of the last century, 1903, right? So
that's right. You know, I think what happened back then in the early 1900s, a lot of companies around the country really got together and said, let's try to work together and deal with our employee and HR issues. And so that's where these formed. There's actually many of these around the country. We're part of a national organization of over 35 that we kind of communicate with and work together to really create great services for companies around the country. But we're dedicated to the Mid-Atlantic.
You focus on Mid-Atlantic, but you kind of share the resources that have been culled by a national effort, correct?
That's right.
Over the years.
That's right.
Okay. And let's talk about your members, who they are, and then we'll get a little bit into the key trends with members. So,
sure.
So tell us about your typical member.
Sure. Yeah. Historically, when we first started back 100 years ago, they were all manufacturers. In fact, our name had the word manufacturing until about 20 years ago. Today, we have 400 members. About half of those are still manufacturing companies. But really, it's any company that is dedicated to working with their employee needs and making a better workforce. So they could be service organizations, pharmaceutical companies, healthcare organizations, really anybody with probably more than 10 employees and anywhere to 1,000 plus companies.
And as you and I were talking before we went on camera here, it's really, particularly with some of the companies, larger companies you deal with, issues of compensation, other issues. There are no cookie cutter ways of dealing with that, right? You really have to kind of look at each individual situation, and particularly in terms of the difficulty recruiting qualified skilled workers.
Right, and that's we use the word a lot. We're helping our employees, our members with their issues. So that help could take a variety of forms. Today, there's a couple of very interesting trends in the marketplace, which I'm just going to tell you about. Again, we work a lot with companies in the middle market, so 25 to 300 employees. Okay. And I think with the economy that's going on, there's a couple of things happening. One is they're not increasing their internal HR; they're kind of controlling that, and in many cases, HR is the third hat somebody's wearing. So it could be a controller or a head of administration that has also as HR. So they have a lot more needs than in the past, and we're helping them with not only compliance and regulatory type issues, but also training, management development, all the way through very strategic compensation design type programs. The other trend that's impacting them right now is it's a very dynamic economic and regulatory environment. So a lot of companies are trying to say, okay, how can I go global? How can I change my workforce strategy to support that? How can I move from selling products to selling services? And then, frankly, the regulators are becoming more and more difficult in the last couple of years. The National Labor Relations Board, Department of Labor, there's a lot of political motivations at work, so the rules are changing every day. And so it's very hard to know today what the rules are based on what you knew 3 or 4 years ago, because it's very dynamic. So a lot of our companies start with us for that reason. They want to stay current and compliant and do the right thing. And so we have a hotline service, for example, where any situation that comes up, they can call us and ask for our help. And we give them very practical advice. We also offer legal support if they need through that line. And that's a big value because they just want to make sure they don't do the wrong thing with a situation that comes up. And I think last year we took 1,400 calls, so that tells you kind of how important that is.
So the entire the realm is becoming more complex. It's moving more quickly. The volume of information that each individual company or human resource director would need to know is becoming more challenging. So it's a great benefit to be a member of your organization where you can really kind of help them focus in on those areas that are applicable to their situation. That's
right. And as a nonprofit, again, I would say the key attribute of our staff is we're here to help our members. So because we're a nonprofit and a member-based association, we really take pride in working with an individual client, helping them through whatever problem they're trying to solve. So that creates a real trusting and lasting relationship.
And we've just kind of gone over many of the member benefits, but is there anything else you want to mention in terms of the benefits of membership in MEA? In addition to all these services that you offer, I guess there's networking, there's training, there's opportunities to make new connections and to learn, to become more economical with your resources in your own company through the information you provide, correct?
That's right. At the core, we help whoever the HR person is, whether it's a very seasoned HR department or a person or someone that's their third hat, we help them make them better at their job. So that ranges from our hotline support to member briefings to roundtables where they can come together with HR specialists, benefit specialists, ocean safety specialists, and create that network of peers and talk through their issues, all the way up to specific training for HR people and for I call them the non-HR executive. We do boot camp to train them on the issues to be looking for, that kind of spotting so that they don't make a mistake. Beyond that, then we really look at the workforce and how do we help you with your employees, and that goes everything from very strong training that we do in our location in King of Prussia, as well as on-site training, where we come on-site training. Yeah, for example, right now we have a very large company down in Delaware. We're putting on 18 days of training this month on supervisor and communication skills.
All right. Okay, great. Before we continue with this, I want to give our viewers your phone number, which is 1-800-662-6238, correct? And the all-important website, meainfo.org.
That's right.
Very, very good. Let's talk. One other thing before I go into a few more questions here. What about what would it cost the typical employer? What's your fee structure based on? How's that work?
Yeah, I think it's really a great program, and I've been here 6 months, so I'm kind of fresh and new to what goes on out there. But our membership fee is very low. It ranges from, for smaller companies, $900 to about $3,000.
That's
and I view that
membership?
That's an annual membership,
Okay.
and that kind of covers, what, again, making sure you do things right today. So the hotline, we give HR people an online tool that's a nationally available tool that gives them a lot of information. That includes access to our briefings. We give every member templated handbooks and HR toolkits. So the theory is, if you want to do things yourself, that's great. We're going to give you all the tools to do it really well. If you want help, and that could range from temporary HR support, redoing their handbook, doing an affirmative action plan, doing recruiting for them, or actually putting somebody on site on a short-term basis to help them with the flow or a change in people, that's done at member rates. And then we also provide compensation surveys. We're the region's largest survey provider. We have over 400 jobs with many hundreds of companies' data, so that you know what the current rates are, and that's both regional and national data. And then we do benefits consulting, and we can do benefit plan administration for our clients, all the way up through these very strategic programs like training and development design work, compensation design work. We do employee opinion surveys. That's all web-based. So again, it's all about helping you attract, retrain, and motivate your workforce better than you can do on your own.
And I guess those surveys are everything from salary surveys to attitudes toward work environments. I mean, I guess all kinds of issues are covered in your surveys to cull information that will help these particular members make decisions.
Make decisions, right, to know what the pays are, to know what the current trends and benefit plans are, what the right ratio of what employees should be paying versus the employer, down to specific company surveys. So you know what your employees think by manager, by department, and you can work on employee engagement. A big theme in the global marketplace today is employee engagement, and that means the more my employees are engaged, the more they feel good about the company, the more they're going to convey that to customers. And there's a lot of research saying when that happens, you have happier customers and more revenue for your customers. So employee engagement's a very big topic with our members.
Interesting, and you may not be able to answer this question directly, but maybe indirectly. I was looking at your website, and I noticed that one of your clients happened to be a company that I did a feature story on, with a great success story in the area, Superior Tube Company,
right.
Tony Yost over there.
That's right.
And a lot of things you're talking about now, I see that they applied in terms of that communication, that sense of getting their employees to feel invested in the company. Creating a company vision, addressing compensation issues, which is something else you and I will talk about, which is the difficulty finding skilled labor to do these really high-end manufacturing jobs. I know you don't necessarily know Tony directly, but maybe comment about how a manufacturing company with 200 employees in a region that was maybe 5 years ago looking at the end has turned itself around now, where the sky's the limit, and that's predominantly because of the human resources focus that they decided to employ.
That's right, and they're a great member of ours. And I think Superior Tube is very similar to members and CEOs in particular that take a very strategic view of their workforce and say, look, this is the core of my business, and that's what makes our region so great. We have all these wonderful manufacturing and service companies that are really founded on their people. And so a great CEO is saying, okay, if my people are doing better and they're happier and they stay longer, I'm going to have better results. And so someone like Tony, we have lots of Tonys out there, are saying, okay, help me and advise me what to do, because again, they don't have that internal expertise and knowledge to know the trends and what they should be thinking about. So we develop and form this strategic relationship. So since I've been here, I've probably met with 40 CEOs in the region of these companies, and that's what I really love about this, is that they're looking for help to make their companies better, and that's what we do.
And that's really living proof, not theory, but proof that what you guys do works. Particularly in this case, talking about a company that was looking at a shrinking market, or what they perceive to be a shrinking market, and dire straits, and not so much has changed in terms of what they do or how they do it, except for the way they deal with their employees and invest in their employees, and engage their employees to buy into a vision. And that's really, in a nutshell, what you guys can do. You can make that one change that makes all the difference.
Right. It's going to be driven by the leader, but when they decide, where they want to go, we help them decide how to do it. And I think that's what creates a great relationship.
Fabulous. Well, we only have a few minutes left. Did you want to talk about specifically, any of your services? You have training services, employee benefits, and I know we've been talking about compensation services. And of course, human resources services. It's a wide range of stuff. It's hard to kind of
hit everything. That's right.
And simplify it in a 15-minute interview. But anything you want to touch upon in the couple of minutes that we have left that we haven't really kind of gone into yet?
Yeah, I think we're really excited about a couple of trends that are going on out there, and specifically, and you read a lot about this. There's a very changing workforce. We talk about the baby boomers, who are the 50 and older. I'm in that category, and it's a very large population, 55 million, who are on their way to the next stage of their life. So you have this dynamic of multi-generations inside companies. Younger people are looking for different rewards, different than the older, and there's also different skills that they're acquiring before they come in. So companies are really wrestling with not only how they manage their workforce, but how they have to change their compensation structure to retain the people they need to keep, to bring new people in, how they develop future leaders, how do they develop the skills that other workers need to move up to new positions inside companies. So we see the opportunity that all those kind of link together. And if you help a company look at who their future leaders are and who they need to help their company in the next 15, 20 years, and tie together their compensation, their training programs, their leadership development into a single focus tied to their business purpose, that there is a huge win for them, that they can really accelerate their growth like Tony did, and to keep their company on the right path. So we're working more and more with companies on that vein, and that is very exciting for us.
Interesting. And then even beyond that, looking longer range, there's the issue of addressing the education that's being provided right now, or at least the direction of young people.
Yeah, and we're trying to figure out how to help our clients, but there is a talent gap right now, and not enough people are coming in with skilled labor. So I actually have, for example, one company, their HR person is actually going out to junior highs and talking to the kids, say, hey, look, we want you to develop these skills, because if you do, as a local employer, we will hire, and this is a company with 5,000 employees, so I think it's a great opportunity.
Wow. Well, Kevin, it's very interesting, and unfortunately we're out of time.
Okay.
It's been a great interview. I want to give our viewers one more time your website. It's meainfo.org, and you can call the 800 number, 800-662-6238. It's the Midatlantic Employers Association, and as you can hear, there's an awful lot of ways this organization can help you become more profitable, so I encourage you to give Kevin a call. And I want to thank you for viewing our show. Please go to 422business.com. You can view this video and dozens, scores of other videos with business leaders. And once again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you at our next segment. Take care.